This is the Sisterhood Society podcast, where three sisters talk life, food, fashion, kids, and everything in between. Become part of our sisterhood where everyone is welcome at our table. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sisterhood Society podcast. We are here with another fun episode, and we're so excited to dive into these trivia questions to see just how well we know each other. I'm low-key excited because I feel like I'm going to win. But we are going to start with what's good in the sisterhood. So, Whit, why don't you start us off?
So, this is something that I have been pondering since like the fall of last year. IKEA finally came out with their Billy bookshelves in the color that I wanted. And I have been like stalking their website since last year because I wanted 3 of them for our dining room. I finally got them this weekend.
Yay.
Came back in stock. Finally got them, and we put them up yesterday, and they're exactly what I wanted them to be. I'm so excited about them. I just have to bolt them to the wall because Cheech is really interested in opening and closing the doors. So I want to make sure that they're bolted
in. Fall on her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You also had a good meatball this weekend.
I did. Oh my gosh. It's our 11-year wedding anniversary. So we went to RPM Italian in Chicago. And they have the best. Yeah. Meatballs? They have the best meatballs. Oh my gosh, they're so good. And then they have this hazelnut dessert. It's literally like just a hazelnut truffle with like ice cream, and oh my gosh,
it's like a Ferrero Rocher with ice cream inside.
Yeah. Ooh. It is
so good.
Beyond delicious.
I was telling Whit, I'm like, okay, you need to make sure. She didn't get everything I told her because I was like, you need the Brussels sprouts. You need to get
it's a lot
the
of
meatballs.
food, and I had to weigh in today.
I was like, truffle bread. They have really good mashed potatoes because it's almost like a drawn butter, like sits around the edge.
How much food do you order when you go there?
We don't order like meals. We just eat like a bunch of little things.
Oh,
and then we get Mama de Pandy's pasta.
I didn't end up getting that.
And then we put the meatballs on it.
Oh, yeah. See,
so it's kind of like spaghetti meatballs.
Oh, I'm thinking of the place that you like here, not RPM Italian. What is the place?
Oh, North Italia.
North Italia, because I'm like, wait, you didn't mention the Strozzapetti.
Yeah. No, that one is amazing. I could
Tara has clean. A way of like explaining food that makes you like starving when you're done. Like she is like so good at explaining food. You're like, stop, I'm so hungry. I can't listen to this any longer.
And she knows exactly how to order it and like specific little tips and tricks to make it even better.
It's true. You have like, actually we're very similar in that because Walls told me that like anytime she goes out, Walls is our cousin, her name's Brittany, but she has a very weird childhood nickname. Every time we go out to dinner, she's like, I'm just not gonna like try to order something myself. I'm just gonna always order what you get. And then when they were here recently, I made them breakfast, and like the next day she texted me and was like, not me going to the store at 6 a.m. to buy goat cheese and avocado to make your avocado toast. So I do feel like we have like a way with food that's different than others. It's just, I think it's a gift. Tara, what's your good?
I got a new cell phone over the weekend, which is fantastic, only because it should hopefully help us on lives with Facebook.
Yes.
So hopefully we won't have any more issues. So I got that all transferred over yesterday. So I'm excited to use the camera feature because it seems like it's a lot clearer than the other. And I had a really good chai yesterday.
Notice our what's good revolves around food.
My favorite is a place here in town called Crafted, and there's just something, it's like, it's probably too sweet, but it's so good. And it has like, it's just like a good blend, because I had one from Panera last week and it literally tasted like ginger milk. It's just gross. I felt like I was like drinking Windex in a cup. It was yuck.
Gosh.
Yeah, not my fave.
Okay, I'm ready to share my what's good.
Okay.
I have another dog hero story because I'm just out here. I'm just out here in the neighborhood looking out for the dogs. That's really what's happening.
It's kind of like a 2.5 time dog story. I don't know if I can give a full 3.
Totally. I honestly don't even know if this one gets a full one. I feel like I was a dog hero once, and then I've had 2 attempts since. So anyways, there was this dog roaming literally the street of my neighborhood when I was starting my walk the other day.
The street of my neighborhood.
It was like not just on the sidewalk, like he was like on the street. Like he was like running where cars drive is what I meant by that. And he is just milling about, and I went to check his collar, and he was wearing like a collar, but it didn't have any tags. So I started knocking on doors to see if the dog belonged to anybody, and no one was claiming him. And then finally, he kept like sitting on the porch of this one random house, and a neighbor came out across the street and said that they let their dog roam, and that he belongs to a specific house across from me, and that they just let him outside, but they don't have a fence.
Was he sitting on the porch of the house that he lives in?
Yeah, but
Okay.
not the whole time. Like, he would go there and sit, and I was like, I don't know that he belongs here. I met another neighbor, so that was actually really a pleasant experience. He had really cute kids. I think his first name was Fred.
But you're on a first name basis with all the dogs.
Yes, like, I don't know. There was like Lola, Bella, Sandy. I didn't catch this one's name. I didn't have the time to meet its acquaintance, but I did knock on the owner's door, like wondering if it was theirs, but they weren't home. They must
They
just
let it
have
roam
like,
during the day?
right, like they just must have like explicit trust in this dog to not run away. But we were not so fortunate when we were growing up. We had a dog that like ran. I was just telling Phil, we didn't have a fence when we had Snowball, and Snowball was like always in the creek, like 7 houses down. Do you remember that? Like, if you didn't watch her, she was just like out the door. And my neighbors would always be like, Snowball's in like so-and-so's yard, like 7 houses down, and you'd always have to go run after her. So maybe we were the same growing up, but you never know who's out there dog snatching. So I'm just really trying to keep up on my dog watch. But yeah, that was my second attempt, and I failed. I guess that these people really do have a good handle on their dogs, and I'm just
You're overprotective of
I'm
the
just
dog.
overprotective of the neighborhood. I was like, I gotta stop doing this. This is the 3rd time in like a month that this has happened to me.
You're going to be the lady in the neighborhood that like complains to the neighborhood watch program because someone
Yeah.
leaves like their garbage cans out too many days.
I actually really hate when people do that, though. Do you guys like does that bug you?
No.
I
do
feel
not
like
care. I do not have the time to care about the neighbor's garbage cans.
I don't care if it's like the day that the trash gets picked up or the day after. It's like if they keep their garbage can out all week.
Oh man, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Kate
I don't
doesn't like your
that.
judgment. Kate does not like your judgment.
I think it's more like a respect thing to your other neighbors because it just looks bad.
Mm.
But here, I'm not the one who brings in our garbage can. So Phil does it. I actually don't do the trash at all unless he's out of town. Okay, let's start with
Shout
Tara.
out, Phil.
Yeah, shout out Phil. If Tara would like to start with her first trivia question, we're basically going to quiz each other to see how well we know each other. So we tried to come up with like random obscure questions.
Oh, they're supposed to be random and
Well, I
obscure?
don't know. Mine
Oh,
are
no.
sort of random.
Mine are
Mine
yeah,
might be too obvious then.
mine are kind of all over the place.
Okay.
I also thought we should like leave a slight break so that if people want to try to answer them themselves before you guys jump in and
Oh.
answer, that they could try to answer
Oh,
themselves.
like a game show.
Well, not that dramatic.
I was going to
just
say
mean
we
like
could
a
write down
slight
our answers and put them up. But then I was
Oh.
like, that would only be effective if they watched like the video version. So we'll just
Okay.
pause and answer.
So for all 23 people that watch it on YouTube, you'd be
Yeah.
able to see it. Okay. What did I want to be as a kid when I grew up? Like what profession did I want to be when I was a kid?
I think that you wanted to be a lawyer.
That was in high school. So
Oh.
I think when you were a kid,
When I was a kid.
I think you wanted to be something with equestrian, something like a horse.
Question.
A
Did it have
horse
something
trainer.
to do with like newscasting or weather girl?
Nope.
No.
Oh,
Okay,
crap.
hang on.
So equestrian was off.
Yes.
Oh, dang it. Okay. No.
Oh, we're keep going.
Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna keep going.
It's not
Alright.
animals related.
Huh.
What? Sports related?
Actress.
Oh. Could you fathom?
I mean, honestly, sometimes you're really good at acting
You think I'm a good
on
actor?
our reels. Yeah, you like. Well, I mean, it takes you 10 takes, but like,
I
you
think
I was
actually.
gonna say she would giggle
terrible.
through the whole thing.
Yeah, she giggles.
Okay.
I really don't know.
So I wanted to be a teacher.
Oh, I was gonna say that, but I was like, she's probably gonna give us like some weird one.
But here's
Yeah,
my
that's too typical.
Here's my reasoning.
No, I know your reasoning.
What's my
It's
reasoning?
because you always thought you could do it better.
Yeah.
You knew how to do it better. You knew how to teach.
I knew which kids should not sit next to each other. So when we do like the layouts of the classroom and stuff like that, I was always like, oh, stupid move. You should put those two side by side. I would separate. And I would always like think through like how I would do it differently than how the teacher did it.
That's really funny. I used to think that when I would get the seating chart, I would be like, that was a dumb move. I'm totally going to talk to everyone around me. Because I was always the kid that talked too much. And I'd always like be really excited about where my placement was based on like who I could talk to.
And you know what's the quiet one? I've got put in between the talkative ones.
I was gonna say, you know what's funny now is like it makes me cringe thinking about, and I don't remember doing this, but like it makes me cringe thinking about being in a class and a teacher is talking and I was just blatantly talking to someone while the teacher was teaching. Like I would never do that now. I'd be like, so it's so disrespectful. But like, why? You know what I'm trying to say?
But you're kids and you don't have any like concept of how that is rude.
Like I straight up read Gossip Girl in all of my classes junior year until I finished the series. Like I was just like my history book was in front and Gossip Girl was behind, as if he didn't know what I was doing. Like
yeah, because who reads their book with it standing up?
Nobody. I know. So stupid. Some teachers don't care. Like I think they just are like, it's up to you what you get out of it. And my grades probably reflected that. But yeah, anyways.
But you tried your hardest in Spanish.
Yeah, I really did. I really did.
Did you read Gossip Girl during that too?
No, it was too hard. She was too much of a stickler. It was only the classes I knew I could get away with it. Okay, Whitney, what's your first trivia?
What's my favorite movie?
Either is Pride and Prejudice or The Holiday.
I wouldn't have said Pride and Prejudice, but my guess was going to be The Holiday.
It is Pride and Prejudice. It is Pride and Prejudice. I only know this because when we lived together, she would nap to it every single day.
No, she napped to the cooking channel. The
cooking
both. Channel.
Okay,
was,
the fact that I have like
the cooking channel was on around the clock.
Background for my naps.
Every time I came in your room, it was the cooking channel.
That's true.
So funny.
See, I can't fall
that
asleep
anymore, which is funny.
I was gonna say I can't sleep to like TV, or I don't like fall asleep to like my phone. Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't. I just recently, I think I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but I just recently gave myself a real bedtime. Like,
do you say, Kate, it's time to go to bed?
Yes. I mainly tell Phil because he's not in love with my bedtime. Because he likes to stay up. It's 11.
Oh,
that's late.
Yeah.
Well, that's the like absolutely lights out, phones away, eyes need to be closed bedtime. But most of the time
by 11.
Right. Most of the time I'm asleep before then.
Okay. So what time?
Why did I bring this up?
Bed? I don't know.
Oh, we were talking about sleeping.
Yeah, I felt
like why am I bringing up my bedtime?
You made it seem like you were bringing it back to like the top.
Oh, it was because we were talking about falling asleep to the cooking channel.
Okay. So Kate, it's your turn. What is your question?
My first trivia question is, what's my favorite Disneyland ride?
Soarin'.
That is California Adventure. Excuse me.
Okay. So Disneyland.
Okay. Oh, Disneyland. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Or Peter Pan.
Those are very good guesses. That would be 2 and 3 for me, but it's not my number one.
Okay, let me keep going then. So Disneyland,
I do love the Peter Pan and
Teacup. Nobody loved teacups unless you're a little kid.
Dumbo.
Toad is like, did you know that he like goes through hell?
Yeah,
Toad
that ride is so scary.
It is so
like
weird.
For me, it's as an adult. I'm like, oh, I don't love this.
Thunder Mountain.
Jungle Cruise.
I've never even been on the Jungle Cruise.
What? How have you not been on Jungle Cruise? That was like hilarious.
What about It's a Small World?
You guys, there's one that's like very, very obvious.
So okay, give me 1 second.
It's
Let me
a glaring, obvious
Space
choice.
Mountain?
No, nobody loves Space Mountain unless you,
I love
like,
Space Mountain, but
don't
you
get
have
motion
to
sick.
you have to like wait in line for like 7 hours.
It's true.
Okay,
This
let's
is
think through it
glaringly
as you walk
obvious.
through. So
Okay,
you walk through
so
the
you go
castle.
so you go through Main Street.
This is like
Off to the left.
Joey, and he's like, so you walk in the Met and go left. Joey, Joey, Joey.
And there's your friend's reference for this podcast.
Yes, exactly.
You walk through
Okay.
the castle.
Well, no, you're already too far. So we've got Fantasyland on the left-hand side.
Yes, which is where Jungle Cruise is at.
Yes, that's where Jungle Cruise
Do you
is.
need a hint?
Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Really? That's your
Yeah.
favorite? I mean,
How
it's
is it
fun,
not?
but that's not like, oh, glaringly Kate obvious.
Yeah, I would not have guessed
That's
that.
why I was going for like
I thought
the
you liked Pirates
small.
of the Caribbean.
Pirates,
because of all the.
Yeah, those would be my two favorites because on Pirates, I feel like I can relax and like really enjoy it. And you can usually get through the line quicker because there's so many people going on the boats at once. But Indiana Jones, like I've never been to Disneyland and not been on Indiana Jones.
The last time we were there, it was broken down, wasn't it?
No, I still went on it, I thought. When we went, like, it's been a couple years since I've been
Maybe
to
it was when
Disneyland.
I went with the kids, when Brian and I took the kids, because it was the last time I was there, it wasn't working. So.
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, I was going to say, like, I love Thunder Mountain, but it's usually a super long line.
Yeah.
And
And
then
it's hot.
it's really hot.
For
And
some
then
reason,
I used to
Thunder Mountain
love
feels like you're in a desert.
Matterhorn, but you have to sit in between someone's legs. So when you would go, like as a junior
Yeah.
higher and high schooler, it was always like a really awkward, like, who's going with who? Because
Yeah, because you're in like a bobsled.
you're like literally like, so you're like straddling another person. So if you're going with guys, it's like a really awkward like experience. And it was just like that always puts you in like a weird tizzy in line. Like who's right? Because every ride you would ride with someone differently because you would just like always mix it up. Or when we were in junior high, we used to like pre-pick riding partners before we would get to Disney. So we'd be like, before we would go, we'd be like, okay, I'm riding every single ride with this person. If you guys don't know, me and Whitney grew up in California, and we used to have Disneyland passes from like 7th grade to when we graduated high school. So I've been to Disneyland like probably 300 times, like
Yeah.
literally,
It is a
and I'm
lot.
not even exaggerating, like to the point where I've been on the rides so many times that like we would go and not actually ride rides. We would just go to Disneyland to hang out.
Yeah, you literally, it was like our hangout. That was the
Which,
one
like-
thing that was just like so fun in high
Yeah.
school.
Which I realize that makes me sound very privileged and very like weird. We're just like hanging out at Disney, but the passes back
yes.
then, it was only like $180 for a year.
Yeah.
And there was only a couple of dates that were called blackout dates or blockout dates where you couldn't go, but for the most part you could go to still downtown Disney, or you could pay like a $20 fee to go on a blackout date.
Yeah. It was like, I feel like it's a culture thing, like Southern California. Like
Yeah.
you just grew up around it, so
Yeah,
you'd
you
always
just had
go.
passes.
Yeah, all of
Yeah.
my friends had passes, so
Everybody
Naturally-
I babysat for had them.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody had passes to go, so you could just go at any time. It was so fun.
It was
I think the
fun.
thing that was nice about it too is that there wasn't so much pressure on the day. Like now, if you go for one day, you feel like you have to get your money's worth because
Mhm.
it's like 180 to practically go for just the day.
Right.
But like then you could, if you went on 3 rides, big whoop, I'll come back next Friday. You know, like
Right.
you just didn't care as much. It wasn't so pressure filled to get it all in.
We used to do this thing. I don't know if you guys did this, but I used to have like a trick for everything that I did at Disney. But one of the things we used to do was there was this like lobby area in the California Adventure Hotel that had rocking chairs and like a fireplace, and there was this place really close in downtown Disney that had really amazing mac and cheese for only $7. So we'd go get the mac and cheese and then we'd play checkers at the fire. And like there was certain places you knew you could like save money and get a lot of food, like at Pizza Port, their
Oh, Pizza
fettuccine
Port.
Alfredo was only
So
like
good.
$6 for this like huge thing, and if you had chicken it was an extra $1. And mom would only give us $20 to spend at Disney, which I don't know how we ate 2 meals plus snacks at Disney with $20. Like
We made it
now,
work.
now
But,
you
like,
wouldn't be
at-
able to do that.
At like Pizza Port, you would get the pasta, you would share it, and then you get a slice of pizza on the side.
Yeah.
So like it was a full meal, but it like you knew how to skirt the system a little bit.
Yeah. So my first time ever going to Disneyland was in 7th grade. They took kids that were on honor roll. I think that was my only time ever being on honor roll. In like the
A darn
7th grade
Spanish class.
first semester, and my very first ride was Indiana Jones. So I think that's probably why I have like some
Nostalgia.
nostalgia around it. Yeah. Anyways,
My
back to you,
second
Tara.
one is what was my biggest fear as a kid or what caused me the most anxiety?
Sammy running away.
I was just gonna say Sammy running away would make you have
Dumb dog.
anxiety.
I literally grew up with childhood anxiety that that probably went undetected or I should have been on medicine for that stupid dog because he was not like your neighborhood dog who just roams
Yeah.
and stays around. He would take off and be like halfway across town. So I felt like I was the only one that could take him out because we took him out and we would put him, there was like a stake with like a big chain in the ground. So we'd let him go outside and like, you know, like roam the roam the yard with that because we didn't have a fence at that house either. But I felt like I was the only one that could literally put him in and out. And so I didn't want to spend the night at friends' houses because I was afraid mom and dad would lose the dog while I was there. So I would call home to make sure he was okay before I would go to bed. And then I would pray myself to sleep that mom and dad wouldn't lose him when they put him out the next morning. Like ridiculous.
First
Was
of all,
that the
dog
answer?
What? Yeah, that was the right answer.
Sammy. Okay.
But then like if you took him on a walk, don't you remember? He would literally sprint out the door and you would be in a full on sprint around the neighborhood until he would be running so fast that he'd be like choking because you couldn't keep up with him.
That's
and he just
so
wanted
funny.
to run and run. Like
that dog was a problem.
It's so weird. I don't know. I've literally never seen a dog like it since.
Were you relieved when we ended up having to rehome him because he like was just terrible?
Correct.
Were you relieved when we did that?
Yes, I was.
You were just like, good riddance.
No, I mean, I was sad that we were getting rid of him, but it was not worth the anxiety that it gave me.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember.
Think how much more fun I could have had as a kid. I could have spent the night at more people's houses.
Yeah.
Okay, Whitney, what is your next trivia question?
Okay. What band was on repeat in my car in high school?
Well, it depends on what year, because on the way to school in 7th and 8th grade, it was Hillary Duff Metamorphosis because we were.
And then there was.
I couldn't drive in 7th and 8th grade.
When I was in 7th and 8th grade, you were driving me in 8th and 9th. I'm gonna guess yellow card.
Oh yeah.
That
we listened to that record like crazy.
We did. That was more early high school before I could drive.
You just said no, we listened to that in your Mitsubishi, whatever that car was, Eclipse.
Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi.
Just think about it a little bit harder, Kate. You'll figure it out.
I can't think of band names. I'm so bad at music. What about Fall Out Boy?
Oh my gosh. No.
Is it an indie band or is it pop?
Indie.
I am so lost for words.
Nickelback.
Oh my gosh. Stop talking.
Look at this photograph.
That's what was playing in Tara's car.
I liked a good Nickelback.
You did. I think
didn't?
you had the CD.
I think everyone liked Nickelback at one point.
Yeah.
What is it? Punk?
Are you still wanting to guess, or do you want me to tell you?
Is it punk?
No.
No.
You liked Avril Lavigne for a while.
That was like early on. We
Early.
listened to a lot of punk. Like we listened to like Brand New and Simple
Orlando.
Plan and Good Charlotte.
What was the one we listened to in Hawaii? Not Orlando. O-Town.
Oh, those are Tara brings all the pop.
Mandy Moore. O-Town.
Tara brings the pop. I bring the punk.
Okay.
Okay. It was Dashboard Confessionals. I'm surprised you don't remember that.
I mean, I don't remember that being on repeat. I just remember we listened to Yellow Card so much in your car.
That was
like late high school.
Not
No,
much
that
has
was
changed. We
early.
listened to the same playlist to the point that she took off the other day for Indy's thing, and her computer was still playing the music, and I was just over here humming along. It's not even here.
It's all my liked songs.
The other day, what was it? The other day, what did I say to you? I was like, "Are we not going to?"
Oh, you're like, is something wrong? And I was like, what?
I was like, "Your playlist isn't going. We don't have any music going."
Oh, that's funny. Okay, my next trivia question is, what was my first real job?
Your first real job, not working for dad and doing faxes.
That is my first real job.
I know. I was like,
Is that a trick question?
Because I was like
And how long-
actually on payroll there.
And how long did you work there before you asked for a raise?
Um, I've had 2 really funny conversations with dad when I was a high schooler working for him, but I think it was like 6 months, a year.
Oh no.
We were
It was
making
the
like
worst timing,
$7 an hour.
I feel
Which
like
was probably minimum wage.
It was minimum wage at the time.
it was after the recession, so things were a little bit sketchy. Like as far as not sketchy, but like,
Well, the
touch and go
economy
there.
was just in a weird spot.
Yeah, the economy was touch and go, and naturally, Dad had to lay off some people, and then here we come walking in, and we're like, Dad, our friends get $11 an hour, and we only get 8. I think it was, right?
Something like that. Well,
And we were
the
asking
funnier
for-
story is when I like senior year was supposed to come in half days because I would get off at 11 and I would eat at Chipotle, or him and I would get lunch, and then I was supposed to come in after lunch and answer phones and like do stuff. But it was like I never really had like a specific schedule. People didn't always like have tons of work for me, so I felt like I guess in my mind
You thought
I
it was
just
voluntary.
yeah, I felt like it was like whether I'm there or not, it didn't really matter because it didn't really ever feel like there was anything pressing for me to do when I was there. And obviously that like wasn't the case, but there were some times where I would just go home or like hang out with friends. And I remember being on Instant Messenger at like dinner time, and Dad got home from the office and he used my full name. He said, Caitlin Rochelle. And I
No,
like
it's
came
not
to the
Rochelle.
banners. It's Rochelle. We've discovered I've been saying my
confirmed
middle
it.
name wrong my whole life.
We confirmed it with mom and dad.
He said my full name, and I came to like the banister, and he was at that like side door, the one that mom and dad always used to come in, and he was like, so and so told me that you haven't been showing up for your shifts. And I had to write a paper, so I like didn't go in that day because I was like doing homework instead. And he was like, well, what is your schedule? And I was like making all these excuses, and he was like, you will show up every day, and if you don't, I will fire you, and I won't be embarrassed about it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I showed up every other time since then. But yeah, it was actually a really funny story. But yeah, I asked him for a raise.
Maybe that was like the foundation of your work ethic.
It's
Maybe that was the
true.
day it all changed.
To be honest, though, I think I scare Dad because I'm so like him. And I think like my whole life, he's just realized I'm just like such a chip off the old block. And so I think that like, because the other day I was making a joke about something you and I had said to Uncle Tom, and how Dad's always like, you guys are such smart asses. And Uncle Tom's like, well, where does he think you guys get it? Like, you get it honestly. And he was like, just making a joke about how like, he was like, you and Tara really are so much like your dad. But he was like, I see you in him the most, like knowing your dad.
You're just
So-
an emotional version of him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dad has his times where he can be like more sappy, but for the most part, he's pretty composed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm half mom and half dad, which is what
Yes.
scares him the most.
It's true.
I'm literally like his wife and then him in a combination. So it's like probably the worst. It's really funny. No,
That's
he loves me. But I did challenge him a lot when I was growing up, and I think but you know what's funny? When we asked who was the hardest to parent, he said Tara.
Yeah.
So
I
I
had
wasn't
high
actually the
expectations.
hardest.
I had high expectations. I always had expectations of how stuff would go. And if it didn't, I didn't handle it well.
Yeah.
I just remember him always saying, you've got to learn to flex. You've got to learn to flex.
Was this before I was born? Because I don't remember that at
Oh,
all.
no. Like all the time,
Really?
all growing up. I had like a set weight. Haven't you heard that story when he made me pack my bags? Like the whole
best
reason
is when you had to sing to an empty car.
that was what started the whole thing, because I had it in my head. We had this baby shower, and we had a baby shower, and we were supposed to sing to the baby inside this like my little car. and the baby was like screaming bloody murder at the time we were supposed to sing. And so they were like, just sing to the car by itself. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Like, why would we sing to an empty car?
I mean, you have a point.
And so
confused.
I was like, the whole point is just to sing about and to the baby. And so I was like 9. It's so stupid. And so I made this huge fit. And so my mom was like mortified. And so she let us sing to the baby in the car, and the baby bawled the whole time, and it ruined the song. And my mom was like, you're going to talk to your dad when you get home. And so then that's when dad came barreling in and told me I needed to pack my bags, so that if I didn't like living there, then I could find a new place to live.
I feel like it's funny because our dad, our parents were obviously really strict, but it was more about, it was like a lot of discipline, but with love. And so it was paired like really well, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It was like unconditional love paired with like, you're going to follow and respect me. Like,
yeah. There was no stepping out of line, and we all three knew that, which is why I feel like none of us even tried to have a rebellious phase.
Mm-hmm. I was terrified. Honestly, it really wasn't even so much that I was terrified of dad from the standpoint, like I didn't want to get in trouble, but more so that I didn't want to disappoint him. Yeah. There was a bigger level of not wanting to disappoint him than there was about him being angry with me.
Right.
And so it was like the idea of like having to tell him something where he would be disappointed in me would literally kill me to this day.
There's not a lot of things we do now that disappoint him, but I just mean, I feel like he even like didn't even have to say things. It was more like a look.
Oh, the look.
He just gave you, I think he still has a look.
He does.
I laugh now when he gives it to me. Not if he's like, I feel like it was when we were like joking with him. He'll give you a look. If he's like not into it, I just like laugh it off.
Yeah.
But I never used to do that. I would be like immediately cry.
Yeah. My most rebellious thing I did in high school was skinny dip, and he found out, and I was in so much trouble. But like that gives you like a basis of like how little we got in trouble. Like I feel like the only thing I ever got in trouble about was grades.
The worst he ever got mad at me is that I went and fixed my car without his permission.
Whoa, saucy.
He was so mad because
how responsible of you.
It was somebody had dinged the side of my car. It was probably like the size of a good silver dollar or bigger.
Yeah.
And I thought it was unsightly. And so I was like, I want to go get it fixed. And it was going to be like $300. And dad's like, that's not worth it. Don't do it. And I was like, but it looks really bad. And he was like, fine, if you want to spend your own money, go for it. So I went and scheduled the appointment with Layman's, but I knew he probably still wasn't going to be okay with it. So I had mom drive me out there and drop off the car. And he found out about it after we had dropped it off. And he called Layman's to try to get it pulled because he was so mad that I defied him. And he goes, I told you not to get that done. And I said, no, what you actually said was if I want to spend my own money on it.
Which probably made him more mad.
But he was, but they had already started on my car, so they couldn't pull it from the shop. So
that's funny.
I got the car fixed. But yeah, I think that's probably the most angry.
I will say I think it was like a year ago after Easter, me, mom, and dad went out to dinner or lunch. And we were just talking about childhood stuff that was like funny or things we would do over again. And he texted me that night and was like, he was like, I just want you to know that when I look back at my life, like I know that I've made mistakes as a dad. And he was like, but you guys like are my greatest accomplishment. And all I ever wanted to do was make you proud. And he was like, if I could change anything, it wouldn't be like those little things. He was like, I just like, for him, it's always about like how much he was providing for us or like how much time he was able to spend with us. And that's the stuff that I feel like when you look back, like that you remember. Like I don't remember, I mean, these are funny stories because they're just silly, but I don't remember like my dad being so harsh that I was terrified of him. I remember like all the Friday nights that we like got movie dates with him, or how intentional he was about vacations and like there's so much more good in my childhood that outweighs like the funny stories about me getting in trouble.
I spent every chance I could on the golf course with him, not because I love golf, but because it was 4 hours of uninterrupted time with him.
Right. Totally.
You know, so it's, yeah, you definitely outweigh the good with the bad. And that's the thing you hope with your kids, that it's the same, you know, because there's days that you like lose your temper with them, and you just hope that the good times outweigh the times that you lost your shit. What was the last question?
It was
that
mine.
you answered. Okay.
Yes.
So the next one is, I had down, how many times did I slide in softball?
I don't think you ever did.
Yeah, you never did.
I never slid in softball.
I was going to say, I think on your last game, they were saying, Tara, slide, and you never would.
It's because when I first started playing softball, I missed the practice that they taught us how to slide. And so I never learned. So I didn't know how. And so I would literally plow over the catcher to make sure I got home, because I didn't know how to slide into home, or any base for that matter. I made it 6 years of softball with no sliding.
That's what's funny, is I think I taught myself how to slide, but I got like so many raspberries doing it. Like you just get these huge, like,
bruises,
open wounds. Yeah, when you do it, it's not like
there's
a fun
definitely
experience.
a technique to it, because you have to like, you know, like put one foot underneath the other leg, and like, I don't know, and you lead with your like the side of your foot or something like that. I wouldn't know. I didn't learn.
I just remember your very last game, your senior year, whenever you were running, people were like, Tara, slide, Tara, do it once. Like, and you never did.
I think it was our first summer playing summer ball. I was running to first base, and I lost my balance, and because I had so much forward momentum that I actually somersaulted over first base. And I remember Ash's dad, who was our coach, was like, "That's the first time I've ever seen gymnastics in softball." And I was safe. I got safe. But he was like, "I've never seen anybody do that before."
That's funny.
Yeah. Good times.
What's your last question?
I just thought of one. What was the first, the first prize that I got for art?
Oh, it was that picture of Will. No, it was a rose.
I thought it was wasn't there one where you had to do, was it the Paris one where you had to make the Eiffel Tower?
No, there was a rose that the office framed and bought from you.
That was in high school.
Oh,
and you got one before that?
Yeah, I got first place in state.
Oh, at Calvary?
Yeah, for a...
what was it a picture of?
It was a little kid with a hat.
Oh, the one that hung in your room for a while.
Yeah, it was a monochromatic drawing.
That's right.
Okay, I do remember that now. But didn't the office buy a picture that you won a prize from too?
I think so. I won a lot of art prizes in high school, to the point that I, nothing, it didn't matter to me. So I got all these prizes and I didn't care, and I don't remember any of them.
That's funny.
Do you want to hear something really rich? I got MVP the month we played one game. Isn't that such a slap in the face? I was team captain, and he gave me MVP the one, in November, and we played a game. I was like, this is so rude. So rude of you. It's my turn?
Yeah. Me? My name is Elwood.
Me? Okay. What was my last one? This one's kind of easy, but we'll just go with it. What is my go-to alcoholic drink when I order a drink?
A Bloody Mary.
Oh, that's a good answer.
I was gonna say a Phil Marg.
Yeah, it's a margarita. But what I was gonna say is I would order a Bloody Mary everywhere, but there's so much judgment passed when you order a Bloody Mary not at brunch. And I want to let's normalize ordering Bloody Marys any time of the day. I just don't understand why there's such you want a Bloody Mary and it's 2 PM? Yes,
queen. Why are you
like,
drinking Bloody Marys at 2 p.m.?
Just because it's like a salad in a cup. Like it kind of feels like a snack before you're like it's like getting an appetizer. It's like it's like a liquid salad. And there's snacks on the side.
Why are you getting appetizers at 2 p.m.?
Tara wants to know the details, Kate.
Yeah,
Where are you eating at too?
I'm just saying,
Is
like,
that your brunch?
yeah, basically. I'm just saying, like, it comes with olives. Sometimes it comes with cucumbers. Sometimes you get celery, bacon. Like, you get snacks.
Sometimes it comes with like a full-on cheeseburger on top.
Yeah.
So where's the judgment coming from? The waiter?
The
or
waiter
the people you're
and,
with?
like, the bartender. No, the people that I'm with usually have accepted me for who I am and are like, it's fine. I guess it's like the same thing.
You can see the bartender's response from your table?
No, like if you're sitting at the bar or ordering at a
Oh,
bar.
Gotcha.
The one thing I was
She's
going to say.
sitting at her table and she's like, I can see he's casting judgment.
I'm just waiting for him to put the order in. The other thing I was going to say is it's the same thing in my head, like people passing judgment about sleeping with a baby blanket.
That one I judge.
But it's fabric. The same way you sleep with a sheet. Like,
The only reason I'm
don't
bitter
understand
about it is because I'm bitter about this subject because of the fact that in 8th grade, Mom told me I couldn't have one anymore. But with you guys, she let you.
Yeah, I still have mine.
And you've taken them into marriage, not just college, but marriage.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah, I could go
It's
get mine and
not-
show the video version.
It's
I
not
have
that
mine in
I'm
my keepsake box and I pulled it out like 6 months ago and I was like, oh, I miss it.
Oh, you should sleep with it. Bring it
was so
back.
soft. It was so soft. on my face.
Normalize
Yes,
bringing
okay.
back the baby blanket.
So here's the thing. It's not that I'm like connected to this piece of fabric. It's just you're so used to
It's a comfort.
Yeah.
like having it in your arms or against your face that without it it's just weird.
Mhm.
Like I can sleep without it, no big deal.
But
But like
if you had
sleep well without mine.
if you had a baby teddy bear, would you feel like that's weirder?
I
probably.
literally don't think it's weird because how is it different than someone getting a pregnancy pillow and cuddling a pregnancy pillow? It's just a different fabric. Like,
But if
I
you
feel
went
like
on a
it's-
girls' trip and your friend pulled out their teddy bear, would you find that odd?
no.
Well, maybe
No, because-
at your age.
At my age.
You being 9 years older than me. No, but like mine
And you're like,
is
no
a-
judgment, girl. Here's my baby blanket.
Yeah.
you do you.
like
I will
literally
say mine's like disintegrating, so I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't even.
But would you be sad if you threw it away? Would there is there like sentiment to you?
No, I don't feel like I'm that.
Whitney,
sentimental
you
of a
lie
person.
like a rug. You would be so bummed to give away blanky cold parts.
Blanket? What?
Her blanket is named Blanky Cold Parts.
No, Isaac named it that. I don't have a name for it, but Isaac was asking. He's like, so like, why do you? He was just like questioning when we were dating, and I was like, it's because it's like, it's cold. It stays cold on one side, so that's the part that I put on my face. So he started calling it Blanky Cold Parts.
Just add it to another one of the weird things that Isaac does.
Guys, my husband is so weird, but it's so fun.
See, I call my blankets, but I don't know which one's which, but their names are Blanky and Blankette, but I don't know which one's Blanky. I don't know which one's Blankette.
Okay, so did Phil think it was weird that you had
No.
a baby blanket? He thought
No,
it was
like
totally normal.
literally. Yeah. And
Does he have anything specific he sleeps with?
no. What's even funnier is I took them with me to Europe and my bag got lost. And I was literally panicking about Blanky and Blankette being lost. And Phil was so mad because he was like, if these are so valuable to you, don't travel with them or put them in your carry-on. He was like, don't fly to London with your Blanky and Blanket.
These are so valuable.
Oh my god!
And he was
Stuff
like,
them in your prayers.
he literally on the way home, he made me put Blanky and Blanket in my my carry-on because I was literally like distraught. Like I was stressed and like sick to my stomach thinking I never got to say goodbye to my blankies and I'm never going to have them again. And there was like a lot of expensive stuff. It was like all my toiletries. Luckily I had my makeup, but I didn't have like my hair straightener, which was like a $200 thing. And so I had to like rebuy a bunch of stuff because I didn't get my bag back. It was like lost in Boston for 4 days. So like almost my entire London trip, I like didn't have clothes or like hair products. I only had one pair of shoes.
I don't remember this. Do you?
It was terrible. I literally had to go buy a pair of shoes because I had like one pair of like
Did you have to go buy a bunch of
sandals.
clothes?
No, so I'd like separated my clothes weirdly into 2 suitcases. So like there was clothes in both. And the bag that I got was the less
you took
valuable
2.
bag.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you took 2 with you.
And weirdly, I had separated like different things into different bags. So yeah, it was very tragic. And then I took, where did we go recently that I took them again? And he got so upset because my bag was delayed again. And he was like, I told you, we don't travel with Blanky and Blanket.
Is it Florida? Didn't you just
Oh yeah, I
have-
left my pillow in Florida at the house we rented. And I had to confess to my friends that there was very valuable blankets inside my pillowcase. I also left my Gucci bag at Black Bear Coffee, and the girl like found me on Instagram. I was like a hot mess. I don't know what was happening in my brain, but I like left all my stuff everywhere.
Did you get your pillow back?
Yeah, I got it all back, so they're safe.
Blanky and
But
Blanket.
Blanky and Blanket are safe for another day. But I will say, I think it's so odd that people are so judgmental. And there's this girl I follow on Instagram who has like, basically her blanket is in just like shards of like strips of fabric. And she has a lot of followers. So she did this thing called No Shame in My Blankie Game and had people tag her. And she reposted like 150 women that all sleep with their blanket. And like, or it's like a bear or like a scrap of something existing from like their baby blanket. And I was like, this makes me feel so much better.
It's hilarious.
Mine is pretty much in shreds now. And like every time I go in there, Ever has like tossed it on the floor. There's more holes in it every single time I go into my bedroom. So I'm at the point where I'm like, I should just toss this, but I haven't
There's a
yet.
TikTok that restores people's have you seen this?
Yeah, Isaac showed
Restores
me.
They're stuffed animals, right?
Stuffed animals. It's really sweet. You should do it to Lamb Lamb.
I know. Isaac said that. He sent this to me. He's like, watch this. I was like, you realize Lamb Lamb is pretty much beyond saving.
You'd be surprised though, some of the ones, because the one I watched, they were like, we didn't want to make this neck too stiff. They still wanted it to be a little limp. So we had to leave a little limp in the neck.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So she walks around. So Lamb Lamb is my 2-year-old's like beloved stuffed animal, and it's actually an alpaca, but it was easier to say lamb lamb. Call it a lamb for someone who's just learning how to talk. Alpaca is a little difficult. So anyway, she holds it by the neck, and like it is literally this like limp, like
It's like
solid.
gray and it's supposed to be white. It's like sad.
It's so funny. Yeah, she walks around with it. We lose it at least 3 times a day because she carries it around everywhere and leaves it wherever she's at. So yeah, we were talking about restoring it, and Isaac's like, if they didn't take like a long time to get it back, I would consider it.
You need to just drag the backup through the dirt a couple times.
I know we do have a backup, but it's actually not the exact same, and she knows it. Like I handed it to her, the backup, the other day, and she threw it across the room, and I was like, okay, that's not going to be a good idea.
That's funny.
Okay, that was the last question, wasn't it? Because that was my third one.
Yes.
Okay, so the moral of the story is order a Bloody Mary whenever you feel like it. And if you have a baby blanket, don't let anyone pass judgment on you if you still sleep with one, because
And if you have a dog that runs away, get on anxiety meds at the age of 8.
Or
get
rehome them.
Xanax at age 8. Okay, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Sisterhood Society podcast. We're so grateful for all of you. This has been such a fun adventure. This is now marks the second full month of episodes. Our next episode is the book review podcast. Yay! For
I'm so
the
excited.
Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. So if you guys haven't already read, you'll just want to read by next week so that you can participate in listening to the discussion. And if you liked this podcast, please give us a 5-star review on Apple. And then follow us on YouTube or Rumble if you have either of those platforms.
And
All right,
leave a
guys.
comment below if you have your own baby blanket.
Yeah, we need to know who still sleeps with the baby blanket. And is its name Blanky Blanket or Blanky Cold Parts? We just need to know. All right, guys, we love you and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.